So welcome, Adrian Dooley. It's nice to have you with us today. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Morning, Estelle. Yeah. Well, I've been in project management for over 40 years now. Initially as a project and program manager, subsequently in training and consultancy. And when I retired about 10 years ago now, I decided it was time to try and do something to use all that accumulated knowledge to the benefit of the profession.
Wow. And so the Praxis Framework was born.
Yes, I'd been involved in a lot of like standards developments or guidance development projects for professional bodies and others, and I just felt that they were a bit piecemeal. It was time to try and bring them all together into a single integrated approach.
What would you say makes Praxis different? What's the need for it, and why is it unique?
I think, first of all, a lot of those other guides tend to be or tend to address just part of the discipline of project and program management. They tend to focus on one particular area. Ultimately, our aim was to make a real difference to project success rates. And so the first thing we thought we needed to do was to integrate all those different areas, which is why Praxis combines body of knowledge, methodology, capability, maturity, competence, and an encyclopedia of tools and techniques in a single framework. Because we thought that made it a one-stop shop, a sort of a project management for the Wikipedia generation. It's all there in one place.
So can you tell us a little bit about that? I can see that you've got sort of 4 pillars here within your globe. Are you able to go through those with us, Adrian?
Yeah, I think it's probably useful to look at that graphic as having 3 layers. The framework itself comprises those 5 areas: knowledge, method, competence, capability, maturity, and the encyclopedia. That's the stuff you find in all the other guides. The difference here is it's fully integrated, and it covers projects, programs, and portfolios in a single framework. Around that, you've got a lot of supporting materials. So you've got templates. It's in 7 languages. We've got some free books, all sorts of curated content from articles and blogs from well-known authors, and something called Praxis Local, which is a sort of a front end to Praxis that you can download onto your local PC. And then the third layer around that, the shell, is the one that, to me, is the most important one, because it's the one that's designed to make a difference to project success rates. We start off with training. People can go on a course, and because Praxis is fully integrated and covers projects, programs, and portfolios, the courses tend to be much more efficient. You could typically do 3 other certifications, and that would only get you to the same point as a single certification in Praxis. But we identified that the real problem in the profession was that people were going on courses, getting certified, but then not actually implementing what they'd learned. And study of thousands of lessons learned tell us that people are learning material, learning guidance, but they aren't developing the habits that make them then implement that guidance. So the first thing we did was to develop a series of checklists based on well-established principles that enable people on the Monday morning after the course to start going through their checklists and developing the right habits, doing the things that they've actually learned, the good practice, the common sense. Now, because nobody works in isolation, it's not just a question of whether I think I've done all the right things in risk management. It's also whether other people in the team and the wider stakeholder group think I've done the right things in risk management. So we made that checklist tool a 360 assessment. So I can say how I think the project is doing in areas like risk and stakeholder and finance and scope management, but then so can others, the team members, the stakeholders. So we get a rounded view. But not everybody is going to look at all this material in the same way. People have different preferences, different perspectives, different backgrounds and biases. So different people will perceive the need and the approach and the implementation of, say, risk management in different ways. And that can create conflicts in a project team. So what we did was to develop a series of materials that say, well, if you've done one of the most popular personality tests, psychometric type tests out there, which is called DISC, then you can use that information to say, well, if I'm that kind of person, I look at risk in this way. Maybe my sponsor, my project sponsor, is a different personality type and is going to look at it in a different way. Now, neither of those ways is right or wrong. They're just different. And what we're trying to do is to help people understand each other's different views. So there's a whole load of material in there that says, well, if you're this type of person, you're going to view risk management in this way. Your team member, your sponsor, your customer has a different view. They're going to look at risk management in this way. So you need to understand each other's perspectives. And then finally, if we are improving the delivery of projects, if we are helping teams work more effectively together, the outcome is that as an organization, we become more mature at running projects and programs. And people do spend a lot of time and money on doing big set piece assessments to find out what their organizational maturity, capability maturity is, and then trying to improve it. What we're saying is that if you focus on the individuals and then the individuals within the team, the natural impact of that is that organizational capability maturity will improve. And if you use the checklists and you do them in a 360 way, then your organizational capability maturity comes out of that almost as a byproduct and actually comes out as a real-time dashboard. So our aim is to say, here's all this information for free. You go on courses to learn it. You then use these tools to help you implement it. And as a result, your board or your PMO will get a real-time dashboard of how the capability maturity of your organization is continuously improving as a result.
It's a very extensive framework. People may well need a little bit of help in finding their way around it. Is that something that you can help with, Adrian? Are you available on LinkedIn for people to approach you?
Yes. I mean, I hope that the way we've organized the information on the web, people will find their way around it quite easily. It is, as you say, very extensive. There's a lot of information there. And yes, if anybody wants to ask questions, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to connect with people who have a similar interest in project and program management. And I'm always keen to get their views and answer their questions. So yeah, please visit the website, have a look around it, see what you think. And if you've got questions, then post them to me on LinkedIn.